Welcome back to the show where we ruthlessly talk about logos for grown men and women that wear fancy matching outfits. So let's get right into it. I've got two special guests today, Frasier Davidson. Hello. And TJ Harley. Thank you for joining me on this very special episode. Why is this special? Because I'm having you guys on to talk about your logos that you can still vote for right now. So this is a new idea we're trying. This is going to be like a political campaign where you're going to try to convince people why they should vote for your logo. Oh boy. Hopefully you're okay with that.
It's a bit late now, isn't it? It's not.
You've done the deed.
More than 4 people to vote for it. Let's see.
Well, we'll see. Yeah, a lot of times, I think voting is low when it's hard to decide. That's what I like to tell myself. if the battle is too close, people don't want to pick a side. They don't want to pick a side. They can't decide.
Where have I heard that before?
I don't know. That's why you voted for Green Party in the last election. Before we get into that, I want to talk about something that did drop the other day. Is the new Seattle Sounders logo. Have you guys seen this yet?
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
I haven't. No.
Yeah.
So Frasier, Seattle Sounders, they play what's called soccer.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a lot like.
How does that work?
It's a lot like football, but it's more American. So just let me give you.
Play it on a gridiron.
Yes.
You know when you see like association football games, or as you call it, soccer, and they play it on a gridiron, and
sometimes
it's an but like it sort of has an inflection upon the game because it suddenly takes on this different kind of. It adds tension. It adds like a sense of like, you know, ground gained and all that kind of stuff to a game that otherwise sort of that isn't so dependent on that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe you don't notice that as an American person.
It's confusing though because the sidelines it's wider in soccer, and then but it's drawn on the football, and so it can get really. It's not pretty looking. Let's put it that way.
But also, sometimes commentators will refer to where the ball is in relation to, like, you know, it's on the 40-yard line. I love it. But yeah, no. I mean, look, it's better than the old logo, isn't it?
It's just like absolutely. European soccer, except not as good.
Oh, yeah, look, we're all aware it's not as good. Do you remember when, like, the other day when you guys found out that Lionel Messi was like a decent footballer? Yeah, like in his first game, he scored like a goal against an American goalkeeper. Fucking hell!
I heard somebody say about that. They were like, he's making millions of dollars. He's playing against inferior talent, and he can walk around in a Publix without anybody noticing who he is. It sounds like a pretty good deal for him, right?
Yeah.
Well, it was at first, wasn't it? Until he went and scored them goals, and now he's like fucking famous. He's gonna have to.
You know what? A lot of people don't talk about when he first got in and started scoring all the goals is Miami was playing in the Open Cup, right? So the Open Cup squads are typically your second team. Right. So it would be like a FA Cup or something like that, right? So a lot of times it would be
FA Cup that aren't like second teams. Well, you're like Lionel Messi was literally playing against children. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, he was playing against the backup goalkeeper. He was playing against. So he was destroying, but he was destroying against not all the first team players.
Yeah. No, the FA Cup is a prestigious cup. It's not like America. It's not like the MLS or anything like that. It's like an actual. It's worth winning, you know.
Well, the cup that he was playing in, it's really not worth winning. And it should be noted, Miami is still like in second to last place. Okay. So, but the Seattle Sounders been around since 1974. This is a little logo history, which I think gives you sort of an understanding of some of the choices that they made. The logo right before they switched it, I'm kind of surprised that this was designed in 2009 because it's kind of it's actually very ugly. It's like one step away from like a barbed wire tattoo around your bicep kind of vibe going for it. But I like what they've done with the update. My issue.
It's interesting that like weird pentagonal shape in the background is entirely unnecessary and only there to get their secondary color palette into the mix, right? I can think of no other reason. It doesn't relate to building anything else.
Maybe it's supposed to be a wave or something, like a stylized wave. No idea. But what's interesting, the only issue I have with the new one, two things I want to bring up. You guys can discuss. Some of the points get so fine that I'm worried about this working at smaller sizes. I think I would make it a little chunkier. Two, when do you think we're going to have a rejection of modernism in logo design, especially sports logos? Because everything is going this way, which is nice, right? But whenever the pendulum swings one way, it's always going to swing back the other way. Do you know what I'm saying?
I know that already. Like in a lot of things now, like a lot of teams are going back, especially in the NFL, are going back to like that old classic look, which seems to just it worked. It always worked. It got a little, in the 90s when everybody was doing flashy shit, like it kind of got outdated, but it never really was bad, and now it's kind of coming back again, and teams are starting to realize that was the best choice to make,
Yeah. The thing that bothers me about this is the implied light by the tapering of the support on the one side.
Yeah.
That isn't reflected in any other part of the logo. So it's got obviously Seattle seems to what's the building called? The
Space Needle.
Space Needle. I mean, it's defined every logo since the 70s and 80s. I guess since its erection. Is there any other? There are elements of other logos in Seattle that have take native imagery and things like that. Even the Seahawks logo, it was based on a kind of, is it an osprey, something like that? I don't know what it is, but
well, it's a hawk that lives by the sea. But the Seahawks logo is based off the Native American art from the area, right?
Yeah, but it's weird to. I mean, does it not seem strange to? I mean, that it's a bit of a novelty building, right? It's not a real.
No, thing, it's just a land. It's just something you go up in to look out of, but
it's the definitive building in the skyline of Seattle, though. I mean,
it is.
I don't think anybody thinks about Seattle without thinking about that building. It's not like some obscure.
Oh, mate, we've all seen Frasier. Yeah. We get it. But
we're seeing him right now.
We're seeing him now. But yeah,
I do miss the dolphin heading the soccer ball. I don't know if you can see that. Not dolphin, orca, killer whale. And they did bring him back here, but he's tail whipping it. I'm not a huge fan of this illustration.
Is that a new one?
Yeah, these are new. This is part of the new branding.
Is that like an old sort of is that a rendering of an original logo? That's not a new one, is it?
I don't think so. Yeah, I think they had this guy in 94 to 2002 of a orca heading the ball. But there's some weird things with the mouth and the there's some weird things happening with that. I think where I like it, the one thing that lets me down is the type. It's just like Gotham or something, modified Gotham type kind of a thing.
It's
And I understand
it's very corporate, you know, like it's
it
kind
is
of going the way of
yeah.
all the corporate stuff that's just like going to that sans serif type and nothing else. You know?
Yeah. So it's losing some life there. I like in the main. Never once do you see them together. I haven't seen in the branding package. I haven't seen them actually type with logo mark at all, which is where the rubber meets the road. I do like the introduction of the bringing the aqua color back, which is something they had back in '94. I think overall good logo though.
I almost feel like they could have made that the top of that Space Needle into an S somehow. You know, with like a little bit more with the negative space in there. Like you could have maybe, I don't know.
That could have been cool. It could have been dorky. You know? That could have been that's an interesting idea.
Are there like when you use a kind of real life object like that, presumably there are some
licensing.
You know, yeah, there are issues around kind of using it.
Certain buildings there are. I know, like when we were doing Frasier, when we were doing the Final Four for San Antonio, we could not use the Alamo. Like they were very. I think it just varies by building. Huh. Some of them have trademark issues around them. This may not, or they may have gotten permission from them. I don't know.
Sure, and it's it's been a part of their logo for such a long time. Maybe they've had an agreement.
Yeah, I mean, that's weirder than I thought, to be honest, because you'd think if there'd be one thing that would have, kind of a universality about it, it'd be something that had like historical significance. I mean, the space, like you say, like the fucking Space Needle, it sounds like a Disney ride.
It is like a Disney ride.
Or a metaphor for Ric Flair's dick or something. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
Do you think American soccer has gotten to the point where we don't have to put soccer balls on things anymore?
If it says 1674, you don't have to put the name on it. If it says 1974, then you're gonna have to put Seattle Sounders on it. For fuck's sake. I tell you what I do like, and I don't know how I didn't notice this kind of in the past. How long have those sort of been the colors of are they Pacific Northwest? Is it Seattle specifically? Is it Washington State?
Yes,
I don't know.
Seattle Sounders, yeah.
Right. So no, but I mean those colors specifically. So obviously the Seahawks kind of became more navy, and I guess the colors of the 2009 to 2024 logo. But I do like it when an American city had like this Pittsburgh, right? Has kind of consistent colors across the Pirates, Penguins, Steelers, that kind of stuff. I think I like that, and I think it kind of gives overall credibility to all the kind of teams as a sort of a home kind of basis. Has that always been the case for Seattle? I don't know.
No, not really. Like the Sonics when the Sonics had a basketball team, they were kind of like a green and gold color.
Yeah.
Not so much blue, but
and then some red, wasn't it? Some red later.
Yeah.
Well, that was interesting. I don't know who designed that, but good job. I dig it. The best is reading the Twitter comments from fans that don't know shit.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You can always count on the fans for a good, solid critique of your work.
Yeah. Speaking of critique of solid work, let's look at these Philadelphia 76ers logos from Alex Yarish versus Cody Walton. Interesting matchup. Alex won. So let's talk about Cody's. Cody is, I think, the elephant in the room. I can't even is the type, and there was an interesting ethical discussion had around this logo submission, right? Because this is how Cody gave it to me, right? And I knew in my head, I was like, it's too big in the square. It really needs to be, it needs more space around it, right? To live. Do I tell Cody, hey, I think you should shrink it a little bit? Should I just shrink it for Cody? Or do I leave it as is because that's what he submitted and I shouldn't be influencing the submissions
one of the first two, definitely.
Well, I went with the third option. I should not be I should only be a facilitator and I should not influence the designs in any fashion. So I
think you've taken that too far. That thought.
You're right. I've taken the oath that I took might have been too strict.
And you didn't do that with ours either, Billy, because mine is bigger than Frasier's.
No, I didn't do that with yours either.
You would have had my permission to make mine smaller. Just
I think
reference.
Well, I think it would have been the other way around though. I should have made Frasier's bigger. Yeah.
That's true. Always make it bigger.
So also I think he would have fared much better if he just took off this type. I don't really understand where the type is coming from on this.
It seems like a little bit of an afterthought to me, but
yeah, but it does. So in a way, I'd almost like to discuss this logo. We can all agree that the type is not working and way too close to the edge, and I don't get it. But the 76 in the ball is not bad.
I think he's worked really hard for that. I like it.
To be honest with you, I just noticed that after you pointed it. I did not really see that until you pointed it out. But now that I see it, it's kind of nice.
Yeah. I wonder if there was some way that he could have pared down the colors in it. Like forget your 50% and what does this look like?
I would have carried that white out through the white stroke throughout. I don't know that I would have changed that. And I don't know that the light blue or gray around the edge necessarily helps either. It might just work on its own. Without that?
I completely agree. I think I like the idea. I really like the idea. I think it just a couple of creative director tweaks on it.
Yeah.
And I think it's pretty cool.
But I think it's a clever idea. Maybe rounded off the kind of left corner of the 6, even though it's not technically like a basket, to make it look more like a 6, maybe.
Yeah, and I think
like I said, I did not get the 6 immediately until you pointed it out. I didn't even see it.
It's pretty abstract, but
I do.
I think he could have rounded all the edges a little bit to sort of
but then
it up a little bit.
You'd have to. You're getting into the territory of kind of convoluting the shape of the ball a bit, then, aren't you? I see why he's done what he's done, and I think I think it's a nice concept, and there may be slight ways in which you could make the legibility a bit better, but I think I think he's stretched for something there, and he's mostly achieved it.
Yeah,
I think it's good. Agreed. I think it's a good idea. I think
it's I totally.
It doesn't deserve 7 votes. It
doesn't deserve 7 votes.
But like you say, I think it's the type around the edge is pulling it back.
It is, and it's too close to the edge too.
It's too big as well, but that's mostly your fault.
I'll take the blame for that. But also, I think it's the fact that TJ didn't notice that it was like 76 at first, and I think that's maybe going up. People are missing it for some reason.
But I think there's ways to make it more legible in that way is sort of my critique on it. Like maybe could have spent maybe a little more time customizing it so it's not just like a straight basket. Like to me, it's just a straight basketball with like, here's where the 76 could come in versus spending a little more time with the 76, making it so it's not just a straight on basketball, maybe using a little bit more artistic, taking a little more liberties with the actual shape of the ball.
Sure. But the more you push that, the more than if you're like, is that a basketball?
Right.
Not. Yeah. It's easy to sit back and critique, much harder to to execute and
Sure.
to make it all come together. This logo, I liked it a lot. I think the elephant in the room is where they touch, right? Because he sent me the vector of this logo, and I zoomed in on the vector. There is no overlapping of these letter forms whatsoever.
Like an illusion.
It's a total illusion. It's an illusion, but it really draws your eye. So could this logo work with a space between these two things?
What are you talking about? The dark edge.
Yeah, see how when they're touching the file.
Not the thing. That's not the thing that upsets me about this.
Okay, go ahead.
The thing is the different angle between the angle of the 7, and the angle of the top of the 6.
It is different, isn't it?
That's not a straight line, and neither of those straight lines, both of those straight lines, could work with the 9-degree angle of the point of a 5-sided perfect star.
I was thinking, because you could have the star. This could be a part of the angle of the star.
You're tracing it. You're tracing it out with your mouse there. I see. That's beautiful. That line there, you're so close. Yeah, we're close to it. But it
would almost be interesting to see the 7 a little more offset, like up and over a little bit. So it's almost coming in at an angle versus just straight on.
A stacked thing.
Not even stacked, but like just up. So like the corner of the inside of the 7 is almost matching up with the top of the 6.
Yep, exactly that.
Yeah, that would be cool. But then I think it would you would have to still do some experimentation on if you can get rid of the crossover color thing that you're getting.
Yeah, I think you could.
It's cool. I don't know if it's an optical illusion or not, but the top of the 7 feels thicker.
It's not. It's the aliasing and the way it's affected by your pixels. So there's a slightly dead zone between the two where one is turning off the blue and turning on the red.
Yeah.
And so
but I mean, I'm talking about this part up here.
Oh, over there.
I feel like this is thick. Am I wrong?
Oh, okay. I see what you mean. Yeah. It could be. I mean, it's probably geometrically correct, isn't it? But
yes, it's probably geometrically correct. But I wonder if it should be thinned by a couple pixels there.
Yeah.
I think what I really like about this is the bicentennial era vibe to it. The whole feel to it. I'm really into, and this would make a great hat.
It would be nice to see like an inline version of this too.
Yeah,
of these two letter forms.
Well, then if you did that, the star could be an inline, but as a part of the shape.
To your sort of anti-modernist point, I think this is like, I mean, something like this would sell on baseball caps forever, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
This is what the people want.
This is what I want, at least. Even
like
on like a I don't know what you call it, like the Expos type hat where like the sides are red and blue and then white in the front with
that would be great.
That'd be cool.
That'd be fantastic. And then under the brim it could be gold.
Yeah.
If I wanted to, we could open up the file and we could really check this angle to see because I don't know. I wonder if that's an optical illusion or if. No, I think you're right. That is the wrong.
It's not an optical illusion. It's just an artifact of like screens where the red, blue, and green are separated.
I'm going to do it right now, Billy. I'm going to tell you right now. I just screenshot it. Hang on.
Yeah, but here you can share your screen.
It is the exact same width.
Oh, the width. I was talking about the angle. The angle. So like
the angle. The angle is definitely not. There's no way.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
Yeah, no, it's not even close. But the widths are the same. So the width of the top of that 7 is the same as the Bottom.
So cool.
I think
it does look way thicker though.
I think the next time we do this, it should be me and TJ ever so slightly tweak this logo in a Alex Yarish logo off. Where
let's see how you both can. Yeah,
we just go through everybody's entries and just do them how we think they should be done. Right?
Yeah,
that's the entire point of this.
Here's what I would have done.
Show. Yeah. Well, that's basically what this is. Well, congratulations to Alex. I like the design.
It is nice.
Yeah,
that's real nice.
Here's a really interesting one. Oh wow, this is Joe Santillo versus Luke Szymanski with the Minnesota Wild. It's a hockey team, Frasier. Hockey is like soccer, but on ice. This was an interesting matchup because Joe was winning up until like yesterday.
Okay.
Yeah. So the Wild, I believe, have one of the best logos going these days.
There's absolutely no way that I would type anything into my taskbar live if it could be auto-filled. Zero chance.
Well,
that's why you use private browsing, Fraser.
Yeah. This is a torch design, I believe, did this logo.
Torch did that one?
I believe so. Yeah, and I think it's one of the more clever.
It's really smart. It's really smart, isn't it?
Yeah. What really gets me is the river stream mouth. Teeth. Yeah. Because it's like, oh shit, that just works.
And when you look at like the trees, they're and the sun, like very like simple graphic shapes.
Yeah, they're like the most basic trees like ever designed, but they look really good. You know, they don't need to be more than that.
Yeah, I think there's a lot people can learn from this logo. One of the things I do enjoy is, we get a lot of submissions where they have an outline that's containing the whole logo. What's nice about this is the outline's actually designed. It's all mono weight over here, and then when it gets over here, it becomes thicker, and it really helps propel the movement of it. It's just little touches like that are what distinct a pro logo from someone who's still learning.
Well, it tells you which direction it's headed in. The key line's thicker on one side, it's going in the other direction.
It's a great logo. So it's a sort of a daunting task. Just real fast.
Just as a quick thing, what would you like? What animal exactly is that though?
It looks like a bear to me.
But if you squint your eyes, does it look like a bear to you?
I mean,
does it kind of look like a mouse?
I don't know. Maybe.
I don't know about a mouse. It does leave it up to.
It's a sort of nondescript wild.
It's okay. It's wild.
Animal.
It's fine.
A wild animal.
Yeah, it's a wild animal. It can be whatever it wants to be.
It's really good. I'm not. Yeah.
One more thing I was going to say on that one is it's like.
Oh, sorry.
When you do marks like that, and you have this much like space and things, like your brain wants to like fill it up with stuff, right? So like you look at this bottom section, you're like, I gotta fill it up with something. Like it's just, but this does a really good job of like not needing to do that. You know what I mean? Like if I was to look at this, I'm like, I gotta put something in there and like fill this, like, but it doesn't need that,
Yeah, like you would put like a W in there
or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
Before we look at the logos here, I think it's also interesting to look at the Minnesota Timberwolves logo.
Yeah.
Because I feel like one of the logo that won is almost referencing the Timberwolves. So let's just keep that in mind.
It's definitely more wolf-like.
Way more wolf-like.
They've taken the original concept and they've tried to just change the animal from bear mouse to
wolf.
wolf pig or something.
Yeah.
Coyote. But let's talk about the loser.
Look at the trees. Look at the trees. They've tried to. He's overcomplicated the trees there.
Those are mountains.
Mountains. Yeah.
They look more.
They're not
But
mountains.
wait. Let's talk about the big loser, Joe.
Mountains don't get skinnier in the middle.
Some do.
I've never been to Minnesota, but
which ones?
Sure.
What? Okay, so this logo. Can I just? I don't want to be. Okay, graphic design 101. Second year student is you have to kern. You got to kern your letters. Like,
yeah.
Dude. I'm not trying to be. I don't want to be mean or anything, but that's like.
They should also be like on the same like with that WIL in Wild.
Yeah,
like
what? It almost looks like
different planes.
Yeah, I mean, you can go in here with a marker.
Sometimes that's the fault of the typeface, and sometimes
but,
that's the fault of Illustrator. But at the same time, if you're going to present something, you gotta fix it.
Yeah.
Right. You can't just go. That's the way it came, and what am I?
That's the way it came out of the box. You just gotta. You gotta. And it's something that you learn early on as a designer because I got embarrassed for some bad kerning on a project. And I never wanted to feel embarrassed again. I was always watching my.
Well, it's just attention to detail, stuff like that.
Yeah,
and also while we're talking about type, to me, what struck me is that 2000 is way too small. I mean, like it's almost hard to read at 5 inches wide.
Yeah. Well, when you have that green and that red,
is that going to be able to be like on a patch? I mean, there's just no way that's going to work.
Probably. And then the green on the red is just tough because
I like the green on the. I like it. I don't.
I mean, I like it. I like it too. But you might want to.
Yeah.
Feels very Heineken to me.
Yeah. You might want to make your red less vibrant though, so it doesn't vibrate.
Yeah. But it's just too small. Like it's got to be bigger. Yeah. And you can with that type around the circle, you have a ton of room there to just make the Minnesota Wild hockey smaller and make the bottom bigger. It's just too small. There's no way that would ever work on anything.
I don't think you naturally start to read a word that is upside down. The problem also with Minnesota and Wild is that the W's and M's are easily confused, and an upside down M looks a bit like a W. And
you could have put Wild in the middle, right?
Yeah. Or Minnesota at the top and Wild at the bottom, and then the 20 and 00 either side of that.
Yeah, you could do it like that. You could do Wild and then Minnesota hockey. Yeah. And then put the spaces between the Wild and the hockey. And then it would also be more symmetrical to have the Wild be the most important thing you want to look at.
At the very least, take the 2000 out of the bottom and make that star fill up that space, and then move the 2000 somewhere else. It just doesn't provide enough.
I mean, if it gets too big, it's gonna compete with your M though.
Right. But you could do it. You could almost do it vertically on the sides of the M. You could do that, or it's just not working for me down there. It's just way too small.
I do like the old time hockey kind of vibe that they're going for, though.
Yeah, me too.
Yep. Would you say that mostly comes from the colors?
Well, the letter forms around a circle like that. The
rondelle style. Okay.
Yeah. Luke, who pulled out the win at the last minute, basically did sort of a redo of the current logo, which I think is cool, and I do like some of the stuff that he was going for here. Obviously the biggest problem is you're never going to do it as good as the one that it'd be safer just trying to, instead of reinventing something that was perfect, to just start fresh with a completely new idea. But I like some of the stuff. I like all the shapes are pretty good though, I think.
The eye works well, and I think he's got the trees kind of he's got them kind of sheared at
Mountains.
an angle that kind of starting to work. I don't think the issue for me is where he's sort of drawn these, gradated levels of green.
Yeah.
That doesn't add anything to the rendering of the wolf. They're just like, here's lighter, here's mid, here's dark. And I think you maybe could have used those things to draw out some of the detail of the wolf, or done something else. It doesn't
Is
really
that
add
supposed to be like a Northern Lights kind of thing? Can you see the Northern Lights from Minnesota? Is that what that's supposed to be?
I'm guessing just sort of probably night sky of
because it has a very Aurora Borealis kind of feel to it. I don't know if that's what he's going for. I don't know if that's a thing in Minnesota. Maybe it is. I don't know. That's more an Alaska thing.
Yeah. The key line seems almost so specific as to kind of hint at like a, sort of a shape, but it feels like you've got a lot of like business around the nose, like the muzzle and mouth.
Yeah.
Whereas I think you actually could have put in some. I think they're kind of red herrings in this case. I don't think that is like an outline of Minnesota, is it? Unless I'm mistaken, or maybe it is. But
I don't think so.
Then I feel like you could maybe put some of that, if you're going to use those kind of details that are really drawn out in a big, thick red key line.
Yeah.
You'd make some teeth or something like that. Do you know what I mean? You'd use them on elements that are going to add some detail.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that the outline is, I think it could have been simplified and, go back to do what the Wild logo does currently, where it's thinner and thicker and it creates some motion and movement to it. Not in an overly exaggerated way, but in a subtle way. But I like it overall.
I think you instantly see it. It makes it like, you get the visual sense of it. I think it's a variation on a theme.
Yeah.
I would have maybe liked to see some more shapes coming out of the red holding line around it versus just a straight outline around it. Maybe some continuing with the star theme around it, maybe pulling those out a little bit somewhere just to give it a little bit more depth. I don't know.
Yeah, I wonder what would have happened if like this angle on his back, if you can see my mouse, was the same angle as his snout. Kind of like I don't know if you did something similar to that with the Beaver State or whatever, Beaver State, Oregon State, Frasier, but like so you're just sort of like simplifying the shape to almost like an arrowhead shape.
Kind of streamline it. I think it's actually less that it necessarily needs something like that, and more that when for instance, the nose, where he's kind of picked out the kind of very specific kind of, a joint in the nose and the brow.
Yeah.
That sort of implied level of detail means that you're expecting that level of detail in other parts of the logo, like the mouth. So I would then, seeing that, okay, so the where the nose, where the nose joins the muzzle, that's important to you. Then I would assume that that teeth should be important to you, or some, that's what I mean by kind of that implied level of detail. But I think it's still recognizable. I don't think it's a bad rendering or anything. I think it's just that maybe there could be, like TJ says, like, and like you've said, like, a key line maybe doesn't just need to be a 10-point stroke around the edge of the logo. Bring it into it. Maybe it tucks in behind the ear. Maybe it, there's some fur that you get a sense of around the.
Because I think the original did that. Can you go back to the original real quick, Billy?
Yeah.
You got to Google it again.
Google that. Yeah, sorry.
You don't believe in tabs, do you?
No, I do have a tab. I just closed it.
We were done. We were finished.
I feel like, did it do that? Yeah, I mean, it did it a little bit, but not really, I guess.
Well, it did.
But like the key line makes the mouth, sort of, like that's what I kind of mean.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Yeah, he could have done some stuff with the.
It doesn't need to be far either, like just enough to kind of imply some kind of canines and
to make it a little more wild, as they say.
A little more wild.
Cool.
But I like both of those. They're really
congratulations to Luke on the.
We're being very picky and technical because that's what you brought us on here to do, right?
Well, that's what I find interesting. I find it interesting to talk about it.
To talk about it.
Yeah. No, I find it interesting to talk about that kind of stuff. But that's specifically why I stopped interviewing the designers, because I felt like I couldn't get into the nitty gritty without hurting someone's feelings. So if I don't see myself hurting their feelings, then it's okay.
We're about to do that now, though, aren't we?
Yes.
Aren't we about to?
No. San Francisco. This one. Voting this one is still live too. This one is a blowout. Robert Ratcher versus Timothy Batzinger.
Bobby. He does a bunch of like video reviews and stuff. Like he's done some about me that are very, very nice.
This guy?
Shout out Bobby. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So he should be used to the harsh review. Should be okay with that. He reviews your Twitch streams where you play Minecraft.
It'll be the show and like complain that I made a bad call.
Really?
No, I do that at home by myself.
Yeah. Interesting matchup. Timothy is going to lose it. Sorry, Tim. Unless this video is going to bring it home for you. If you go to Tim's got some cool stuff that he's created. I like he should have presented it like this. He might have gotten a few more clicks on it. But he does some cool stuff. But I don't think he quite hit the mark with his submission. I always talk first, so let someone else talk first. Frasier, give me your first impressions of this San Francisco 49ers logo.
Well, yeah, I have a lot of sympathy for the sort of what is the absolute route one, go back to basics, first kind of, first impression logo. And I sort of see what he's gone for here. I think what he's then done is, like if you, so you've got, let's take you've got the what is it? There wouldn't be a pickaxe. What would the tool be? What would the specific tool be?
I think it's a pickaxe.
Is it a pickaxe? Is this a standard pickaxe? Okay.
Yeah.
So I kind of like that. I like it being off-centered. What I dislike is the subsequent kind of accoutrement that he's added to it. Like I don't know what the studs are down the middle. Are they 5 Super Bowls?
I would imagine they're. I'm just guessing here, but I would imagine they represent like the amount of Super Bowls they've won.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So
they may have won 5 Super Bowls.
I don't think
I'm not positive, but I'm just guessing.
I don't think the right place to put them is on the.
Because then you have to change that. If that's true, then you have to change it every time they win.
Then you have to change it. I think the 49 is a little bit.
They could just agree to never win another one, though.
Relative to the
right.
The S and the F look a bit lost on those fields. I would either go big on kind of, if you're going to have a big old shield that you've then sort of almost divided up in a heraldic way with the cross, then you've got to go out and fill those 2 fields that you've got. So either with a 4 and a 9 or an S and an F, and they feel a little bit lost in the middle, where they are. So I would say that's kind of a, that's cool, but I would fill that out. Maybe if you're gonna make a point about including Super Bowls, put it. You've then got that sort of space above the pickaxe, so maybe you could drop that slightly to give a little bit more space for an area like you can see it. So in his other work, I noticed that he'd done the is it the Boca Juniors or I forget what it is, the Brazilian. Is it Brazilian club, Argentinian club? Scrub up. There you go. Yeah, Boca Juniors, right? So their flag. So he's got 3 stars on that, but their crest, they include every kind of like title on their thing. So
I like this. This is nice.
Yeah,
I think if he would have done this to that, and what I mean by that is he left this clean. There's no drop shadows.
But the fact that he left, so what I'm saying is the fact that he left 3 stars on that is kind of the point. Like, have a look at the real Boca Juniors logo. Now they have it's like the US flag where they were adding states in the kind of 1800s.
Yeah.
It's so it's a BOCA, yeah. So you see what I mean, right?
Yeah.
Now I think that's a legitimate way to run a logo. I think that's a cool thing to do on logos. I noticed that the Seattle Sounders had 2 stars above their their crest. You know, like how fucking Brazil have 5 or Italy 4 and the Netherlands have none.
It's usually above.
The Netherlands, like home of Johan Cruyff, all these guys, they have 0 stars, but the Seattle Sounders have 2. Anyway, whatever. But like, I think that's kind
a very like European thing, though.
It is. It's a bit of a European centric.
Like US doesn't. I don't know anybody that does that. First of all, it'd be very ambitious to like start doing that now. Not that you couldn't do it, but like
I think it would catch on.
If you were the Patriots in like 2002, though, you'd start considering it, wouldn't you? Because they've got a star on Patriot Pat's head. You go, well, we could add like 3 of them now.
I think they got more than that.
I mean, they didn't.
But like, it's an interesting discussion because like as a like brand clothing manufacturer, like you'd love that because like let's say you win 3 in a row, you have everybody wants the newer one. You don't want to be you have 3 titles. You don't want to be the guy that's walking around with the shirt with 1 of them on there, right? But so you always want the newer thing, but at the same time, like there's a cost to that. I feel like because you're constantly updating stuff. If you're winning,
once you have 4 and beyond, I think it's or 3 and beyond. It's such a to use the common parlance, like such a flex, isn't it? Like to go, oh, if we win another one, then we'll change our fucking brand. Yeah. So
like the Steelers would have instead of having the 3 stars, they have like 7 or 8 like stars.
It's no longer like a kind of colonial era thing. It's like a fucking cowboy hat. Like it changes like era every time. Yeah, something.
Yeah, like it's sort of like the captain patches that they have on NFL jerseys, right? There's like the 4 stars, and like they fill them in, and once you get to 4, it's like that's it, right? They don't add more. Like you just.
What are the 4 stars for? I don't know. Is it like McDonald's?
Like I think when you're a captain, like you're the captain of the team, like you get they have a patch. It's got a big C and then it's got like 4 stars on it.
Yeah, no, I know.
I know. First year, it's like gold, and then the second year it's gold, and it goes through the 4, and then the C turns gold, and then I think that's it. Like you get. You don't get any more.
I had no idea.
Than that.
I think that's the way it worked.
I think so.
That's great, but I like that kind of coding in things. So I can. So what I'm saying is, I appreciate what he's done here. I think that's nice, but let's make a feature of it that doesn't interrupt the sort of logo itself. So maybe they could exist independently. Anyway, that's my take on it. So I'm going to hand over.
I don't love the shadow because of there's sort of an inconsistent logic to it, right? Because you have there's sort of a directional light, right? And the idea that it's sort of stuck to the paper down here, but it's sort of lifting up over here because the shadow gets smaller, or maybe it's just at a 45-degree angle. But then there's just there's some optical illusion weirdness going on, and then these are shadows, but these are dimensional.
Like there has to be like consistency with it if you're going to do it. Like it's like all or nothing, right? And then like the 49 is just flat, so
I appreciate the idea though of using the pickaxe to create the shield shape.
Yeah,
I like it. I like I like the impetus.
The whole thing, it's a little soccery for me. The whole thing, like it's a little more like a soccer badge, which is fine, but it's fine. But like, I don't know, NFL, it doesn't seem to fit in like the NFL sort of aesthetic to me.
The other thing,
if this was an MLS team, it would fit in much better. I think just everything that's going on. It's very, with the SF broken up, it just doesn't feel very NFL football to me.
The other thing I say though is, if you're going to design a football logo, now I know red is the primary color of the 49ers, but the essential place it lives is on the helmet. So you've got to design something like this that lives on a gold.
They've got a gold helmet, right?
So at least, present it in such a manner that it's comprehensible in that regard.
Yeah,
but that's true for both, obviously.
This logo from Robert Bratcher is there's a lot going on in it. I like the vibe to it, but to me there's a lot happening. Maybe that's a feature, not a bug. What do you guys think?
I think I like it conceptually, like what he's trying to do here. The yellowish gold isn't working for me. I think the gold needs to be much more like the 49ers gold. It's a little chunky, if that's for lack of a better term for me.
Yeah.
Like I would like to see some of those lines thinned out a little bit. Maybe develop the state shape a little bit more. I do like the concept though. I like what he's going for here. It just, in my opinion, just needs a little bit more finesse and a little less.
Do you think
chunkiness?
If I gave you this design challenge, do you think you could? It's possible. The shape of California is almost the head of a pickaxe. Could you make the California?
In what way?
Pickaxe?
Like,
well, it's sort of curved. And then you just have a handle coming out from the California. Probably not going to work.
I don't know. It's a bit of a
probably too far.
With that.
Yeah, but I think the shape. I think if the shapes puzzle piece together a little bit better.
I like how everything's positioned. Like I said, I would maybe just try and just tighten it up a little bit more.
Yeah,
really.
What do you think?
Again, I'm not a huge fan of the yellow there. It's just a little much for me. It's a little too. We're getting into like Kansas City Chiefs sort of.
It's definitely Chiefs.
Red and yellow, but
yeah.
I do like the concept.
There's a sports designer guy. I think it's Elias Stein. I don't know if you know him. He's on Dribble, and his kind of style of consistent line weighting, simple.
He does all the portraits, right?
He does these really nice, kind of very simple, like baseball players in there.
Yeah.
Quick stances, basketball players and things. But he's also very good at like kind of aligning, taking multiple objects and kind of, that's exactly it. Like taking kind of multiple objects and kind of positioning them such that they feel cohesive and part of a set. I think taking some of that and like that New York piece there, I don't know, it's a number of kind of pieces. If you're going to make a kind of montage thing, then they have to kind of fit together, for a logo. They have to fit together very, very specifically and in a very cohesive manner. I think there's a lot of different line weights going on. A few different colors. And I think he's kind of close, but there's a few kind of scraggy edges. It feels like, okay, if you're going to have all these kind of objects bundled together, maybe there is and you sort of hinted at this, Billy, maybe there's a nice way in which they can form the kind of, the sum total of them can kind of form something a bit more, they can form themselves form a shape Voltron. Or a Voltron, exactly.
And maybe I don't know that you need both the star and the football. I feel like the football could be where San Francisco would be located, and it's funny
Yeah.
that they're San Francisco and they play an hour and a half from San Francisco, kind of like the Jets do. But
Do they?
yeah,
I didn't even know that.
well, it's not an hour and a half, but they play in a different state.
Yeah. What's bothering, I want to put everything together so it just fits nicely. Like, I wish the football just fit into the shape of California.
And it sort of could. Like, if you made it bigger and just dropped it down a little bit,
it's really close. I wish this angle on the star was just matched up with the angle of the stripe on this. I wish these angles were parallel instead of converging.
Yeah.
Like, there's little triangles happening here and here, and like, I wish like this angle was the same as this angle, and like the thing that comes out of the top of the axe looks like it maybe almost like missed how that was going. I think it just needs like a little, like, if you just simplify some of the angles and have them all sort of rhyme with each other, and then all the shapes will kind of fit together a little bit better.
I feel like it's got good bones. Like, it just needs a little like fine tuning, I think.
Fine tuning. Yeah. Now let's get to your matchup. This is still live, so go and vote right now.
Doesn't seem to be much of a contest right now, does it?
Yeah, even after Frasier posted that amazing video, which we can watch in a second.
Yeah, I didn't get one of those.
Well, he didn't do one for your logo. You don't need the help.
It's rigged. It's rigged.
So this is actually what the current logo looks like, I think. Yeah. Which is, it's obviously one of these logos that has been faxed and redrawn and cobbled together with Scotch tape over the years. And it really, I'm surprised they haven't given it a refresh yet. Frasier's on the move. He's checking in on his child who's woken up from a nap. But you guys know what I'm saying? It's like, it's one of these old logos that really needs some help.
But that's what's interesting. So it's an old box full of stuff, isn't it?
It's an old box full of stuff.
It's cobbled together. Yes. It's
so many.
I feel like there's a lot of football logos like that are like that.
There really are. I think in part because they're old, and in part because of the heraldic cultural nature of the country, right?
Exactly.
That's the second time you've used that word, by the way.
And it's
me.
There's inherent tensions in it, and as well. I think I love all this stuff because I think it's.
You would.
Yeah, I would, wouldn't I? But I think, maybe it's unique. Well, not unique to European. Like, it exists only kind of in European culture in a way that it doesn't particularly in, unless the fucking, I don't know, like the Patriots logo had "Make America Great Again" as their.
Well, this is their version of "Make America Great Again." What are these things, fellas? These little penis shapes. What are they?
Yeah. They look like actual American footballs on top of there, but
they do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Someone's kicking a field goal. What the hell are
they? They are well. They're very convoluted. They are the symbol of the Prince of Wales, but they date back to like Medici symbols of a kind of big powerful European families. I think they stand for something like hope, charity, and fashion sense or something. I don't know, but like it's there. But what they've come to symbolize in Wales is like English rule over Welsh people, and Ichdean. Kind of unusual in terms of like British heraldic. Lots of our stuff is in Latin or French. Dieu est mon droit. God on my right is the kind of British. On the pound coin and everything. In God we trust is we have our version of that, and it's French because English royal families are essentially French people and German people. Ich dien is I serve in German, and not Welsh at all. Celtic people, famously not German, famously kind of not particularly interested in. So when I originally posted this, because you asked me to do this fucking years ago, and I did it straight away because I was intrigued me initially, and I put it up. But one of the first sort of pieces of shit talk I got back from Welsh people was like, it's got feathers on it, like it's not for us. Which is interesting.
When they saw your redo.
Yeah, they don't like that. Like the symbol of what the true as far as I can discern, the true symbol of Wales is the dragon. Like that's their kind of national symbol. And the feathers, Ich dien, is they're symbols of Anglo rule over Wales.
Interesting. I do enjoy how the logo says 1864 to 1864 on it.
Yeah, but that changed as well because it used to say 1873, I think.
And then I saw it when I was sort of researching it. I saw, I was going to say there's
that's
a couple different versions of it.
Yeah. So they've kind of found reference to it further back. I think it might be one of the oldest. It might be one of the oldest clubs in the UK.
Very interesting. I want to. You posted this earlier today, and I think it's fantastic, and I want to show it.
So yeah.
Don't let this video sway you, folks. Okay, we're voting on the logos. Okay.
Yeah, this should have no influence.
This cannot influence you at all. I don't have a fancy show.
Well, apparently it's had absolutely no influence. I think it should be stricken from the record. About it.
You think I should redact this part?
Strike it away.
I think the jury should disregard this evidence.
I don't know why you didn't tag Wrexham in this because
I did. I tagged them like 6 months ago.
Oh, you did? Oh.
Yeah.
You made this logo a long time ago, and full disclosure, and it's playing again, son of a bitch. The full disclosure, I had someone else to lined up to do this matchup, and they became so busy that I asked TJ to do it, and you did it in one evening, like right away, which is amazing. So I'm going to just have you do all the matchups. Right. It'll be great. Let me tell you what I like about this logo. What you did, the part that I love is how you incorporated the angle of the green into the design of your dragons, and how because the dragons are such a complex shape, and trying to do a split color background behind them, but making it a part of your design, is so incredibly clever that I love that part. I love even like the little detail of like when he's got his back arm, and it's the exact same angle as the color line, and it like when you have a complex thing you're drawing, and then you can just repeat these angles, kind of like we were talking about with the last logo. It makes it all fit together like a nice little puzzle piece.
It's attention to detail, like I said, like it's key,
Yeah. But it's also even understanding that's how things look good, Yeah. What do you got to say for yourself there, Frasier?
So this is sort of if there's a philosophy of this kind of design, I would say I would go to the Joe Bozak school of what you're essentially trying to do here, I think, because it's such a kind of weird, complex, original logo, is you're trying to take the same ingredients and recombine them in such a way that they they feel you feel like you haven't lost anything,
Yes.
but you've kind of gained something in, hopefully, a bit in simplicity and cohesiveness. So my thought with this was one of the most important things in that logo is the chevron shape, and so that's sort of how I've angled all the other elements.
Yeah.
In this kind of chevron. Now, I am a colorblind person, so the reason the green, so a few people have said this already, the green to them seems too light. But
Okay.
I would say Wrexham play in red. Green is there essentially as kind of added Welshness. So Wrexham play, all Welsh clubs actually play in the English and Welsh leagues, right? There's the English Premier League, the second division. So my thinking is this is sort of a secondary color, so I can kind of bend that to my will slightly. So I have made that green color such that I can see it. But I fully concede that might be too much for some people. But that's the level of distinction I need to be able to kind of see between red and green colors. I've then, I think, probably tried to add too many elements here, but as you say, I've tried to coach them inside this general chevron shape that I think is essentially from 100 yards. If you see the Wrexham logo, what you see is a crest and a chevron, and so everything else fits within that. That's the
I mean, there is a lot going on, and if you only would have made your logo bigger in the square, that would have helped.
If I'd have made it bigger. The other thing is what TJ's done is really clever. What he's done to combat the green and the yellow, green and red color blindness is just not have them touch.
Yeah, because they're going to vibrate.
Yeah, but I consider that cheating.
What do you think of this logo, TJ?
I mean, I'm always
be honest.
Every time I see Frasier stuff, it's always great. Again, the angle of the top of that is great. It's just everything is just so clean and tidy, and the way Frasier's illustration style is always interesting to me. Just it's so effortless, and you can just
you make it look easy, Frasier.
You know what I mean?
That's the hard part. I think, I didn't really get into sport logo messing around with it. I don't know. It's been a while now, but when I first started, I was like, I was a fan, and I was like, I should try some of these myself, because I was looking at the stuff Frasier was doing on Field Theory, and I was like, I should do some of this shit. And I started doing it, and I was like, wow, I'm really bad at making sports logos. I didn't realize how long it takes to get.
It's hard. It's not easy. Like I've seen some of the best branding firms in the world get it wrong. The big ones that we all know, try and tackle stuff, and it's just terrible. And
and Frasier makes it look easy, which is, you're doing us a disservice.
Yeah, but no, it's great. The color blindness thing is interesting, because I didn't know that about you. So that sort of answers my question about the lighter colors. The ribbon at the bottom is really nice. The reason I didn't include one is that is just one thing I cannot draw well, is ribbons. It confuses me every time I draw. I'm like, every fucking time, I try and draw a ribbon like that with in and out. It just baffles I can't wrap my brain around. Todd is great at doing it.
That's exactly where
Todd has beautiful ribbons, and I'm like, I don't know how. I'm literally tracing what Todd is. I'm like, it still looks terrible. I don't know why. Anyway,
I kind of wish you would have had your darker green was a little darker on the ribbon, so that there was a little more.
I can
contrast.
I can see that now. Yep.
But at the same time, you don't want to add so many colors to it.
No, you don't.
Either.
Yeah.
So you got to kind of think in terms of, I'm always thinking as a guy that does sports stuff in terms of production. You know, you could have it be 18 colors and have it look really good. But at the same time, I'm always thinking in the back of my mind, I'm sure Frasier does the same thing, where it's like, that's not going to reproduce. Even though we're not reproducing it on anything, it's still like in the back of my mind, like this is how it's supposed to be done. So.
And Frasier, you also did the thing that we talked about in the last round with the Wild logo, is your outline got thicker at the bottom, right? And it just doing that little thing helps create a little more dimension.
It pushes your eye up. It's not just that it creates more dimension. It makes
maybe that was a bad word. It's more dynamic.
I mean, it's that it makes it feel like it was designed for its own purpose and not just as like a thing. You know, we're all very used to now, like a treatment applied to something.
Yeah.
And we can sort of, you know, disassociate those things. So like, I think you do those things to just make it, for that reason.
There's always like certain little tricks that you can do to just make things look a certain way that are very subtle, but that's one of them. And I don't remember if I did that in mine or not. I know I had done like a couple of the iterations I had done using that same sort of technique, like making the bottom a little bit wider. I don't know if the one I ended up sending to you had that, but
let's find out.
Let's find out.
Let's go back. No, it didn't. Okay.
So TJ did cheat because he made his logo bigger and the red is brighter.
It's a much nicer red, isn't it? Now that we see it.
Well,
as somebody mentioned in the comments, it's like RGB versus
yeah.
I think the one thing that everyone is going to immediately say about this, which they like, is the W in the dragons, and that's just making something else in a logo is always brain candy. You know, we just like it. And having it be there, having it maybe not noticed right away, but having it work within the sort of flamey shapes, for lack of a better term, of the dragon is nice.
Well, no, but it's also the feathers as well.
Yeah.
Is that what it is? A feather?
Negative space. Yeah.
W, the feathers, and the dragon.
Oh shit!
Mate, this is why people are going wild for it.
Yeah.
Have you even looked at it, Billy?
That wasn't. So the W was always. So my thought on the whole thing was to try and bring some sort of like Americanization of it a little bit, because like, you know, like most football clubs don't have like the big giant W, like we are Wrexham, big W on it.
They should.
But so that was sort of the intent on that, was to try and bring like a little bit of like American sports flair to that with that. Now, the original sketch that I made did not have like the top of that feather in there. And so as I was going, as Frasier said, trying to take all the same elements and include them in some way, that was not in there in the beginning. The sides were just there naturally as the shape. Here, I'll even show you. I got it on my here. So like this was like the original like sketch, right? Well, so you can see like the top of the middle of the W wasn't the feather, right? It was just kind of like pointed, and I was like, maybe there was like a building or something in there that can be a reference to, and it ended up not.
You were thinking that there'd be like the Wrexham Space Needle that you could...
right, or like there was also a Big Ben in Wrexham, right?
Yeah, their tallest building is 3 stories.
I'm like, there's got to be a similar looking building there. There was. So, and then. So you could see like the sides of the feathers were in there, not intentionally, like to be like that. And then I was kind of looking at it, and as we all do occasionally, we have that like epiphany where like, oh wait, because I was trying to find a way to incorporate those feathers in there, and then I saw the sides of it as they are now in this. I was like, oh, all I got to do is like make the top of it another feather, and so I just kind of maneuvered that into the top of it, and then it became like the feathers, and it didn't really take much difference than what I had originally sort of.
But when that happens, when you figure that out, there's nothing better.
Yeah,
as a designer, sitting behind your lonely desk, than when you stumble upon that. You're like, oh fuck.
Because now I'm like, now I don't have to find a place for it.
Yeah, but also it just you just like, it feels good. It feels good to find that puzzle piece. That last
you're like, oh, there piece. It is.
Yeah. Because I was thinking the other day, like, graphic design is really not fun. But there's moments. What's that?
It's not fun at all. No,
it's not fun at all.
It doesn't get funner. I'll tell you that. It's fun.
Yeah, but there's moments of maybe it's just moments of relief.
Yeah,
right?
Relief.
Where you're like, oh shit.
Well, sometimes things come like that, come naturally. Like, oh, I'll just put this here, and then other times it doesn't happen like that, and you're like, oh, this could work in this way, and then you just do it. It's like, oh, that works. All right, let's just do that.
Well,
that's how this works.
The problem with it is that you've seen the best work, and the best work is kind of ubiquitous. It's not like, if you're a fucking recruitment consultant, you don't know what the best recruitment consultant is doing. You're not aware of their stuff. You're just like, you might be aware that there are people better at your job than you. The problem with design is, not only do you know that there are people better than you, you've fucking seen what they can do.
And that's all you see. You don't see like their shitty ideas that didn't work, because there's probably a ton of that too. Yeah.
And so when you come up with a genuinely good idea, which might come along maybe once or twice a year, you go like, yeah, that's relief. It's not even joy. It's just fucking.
I'm going to share this on Instagram because everybody needs to know that.
And then 16 people like it. At least you guys don't live with someone who is much more talented than you.
Oh, because your wife's
she's so talented, and all of us. The worst part is she knows it, and she has no respect for what I'm doing at all.
No.
She looks at me and she's like she admonishes me for not sketching enough. Basically, she's like, this really needed 5 more revisions of sketching.
Do you feel like not only does she not respect you, but do you think that she maybe pities you?
Do you think she's openly mocking you right now for doing this podcast? That she's watching your kids going, oh, Billy's doing fucking.
Do you think she hides your work from your child because she's ashamed of it?
No, but I will tell you this. Her parents have her artwork hanging up, framed at her parents' house.
Yeah.
My parents have her artwork framed and hanging up at their house. And that's not a joke. That is 100% the truth.
Billy, when are you going to do something that's worthy of hanging on my wall?
Yeah.
When are you going to do that?
Is it going to say like Billy 43 3/4?
Do you present stuff to them and go, how about this? And they're like,
no, I don't.
Not yet. Keep working at it, Billy.
Yeah. That can go on the fridge.
Yeah. But honestly, we have a good collaborative working relationship. I help her, she helps me. We're not competitive, thank God.
Yeah. Tell you what, Billy, we'll put this one in the bathroom.
How do you? But seriously though, how do you help her?
Dude, you have no idea. I'm helping her with layout and stuff like that. I can't help her draw something, but I can.
Do you help her like recharge the iPad or?
Dude, she doesn't even. She's analog.
She just draw it.
She's a real artist. Yeah.
Does she look up at? Does she look up at you before she draws something? And just go, like, was it that Matthew McConaughey thing? Where he's like, first time, every time, and then she just does it, and then she hands you like, scan this,
and just doesn't even look at the paper, like looking at Billy the whole time.
You know what's funny about that? It's absolutely the opposite. She redraws something about 60 times before it gets scanned in. It's she's got revision paralysis. I'm blessed with ADHD, and so if I can get it done once, it's a miracle, and I'm done.
Yeah, that's that's always nice to know that people that are like really talented are actually tortured by it. So like they're not getting any pleasure out of it either. That's nice to know.
No.
That makes me feel better about Anne's talent. That like it hurts her to draw too, because it hurts me to look at it.
Yeah.
So
and what's really funny is I'm not like hugely popular on Instagram or whatever, but I'm vastly more popular than she is on Instagram, and it makes zero sense. Zero sense. Yeah. It makes no sense. And like, she'll release something and won't sell anything, and she'll feel terrible about herself, like every artist.
Yeah, that's the point, isn't
it's
it?
the point.
If she wanted to be popular, you'd be a 14-year-old Forex trader renting Lamborghinis by the hour. Know what I mean?
Yeah. That reference went over my head. Well, congratulations on your future wins, TJ. Or if you're feeling bad for Frasier and his colorblindness, go and vote.
Is this live? Is this going out live?
No, I'll put it out tomorrow or something. Why?
So, well, I was just thinking like maybe people would pity me, and if we refreshed it, it'd be different. But it's probably just going to be like
beaten Frasier once,
isn't it?
I've already beaten him once. Okay,
you did already beat him once, and I feel bad because I was like,
noticing a trend here.
The worst part is this might be the logos Frasier has done for the stupid website have been like probably the two best losers we've ever had. Future. I'm not saying
that's not the point, is it? That's not the point.
I'm just saying it's not fair. I'm not,
You're the biggest loser, Frasier.
Hillary Clinton got the most votes ever for
yeah, it's true. It's true. Okay, I gotta go.
Hillary Clinton of your website.
This has been way too long. Best of luck to you fellows on voting, and I really appreciate you participating in this. I do enjoy talking logos with you guys, and I think there's like 20 other people that like listening to it for some reason. I don't know. Those people need help.
Oh.
Yeah,
but
Any parting words?
No,
not really.
No. Okay.
It's been lovely. Great.
Yeah, it is. It has been good. We'll talk off air. Okay. Thanks, guys. Bye.
Thanks for having us, Billy. Bye.